Hey, and welcome. Hey, and welcome, you guys. Hey. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. Oh, y'all are seeing me. I'm not seeing you, but you know what I mean. Welcome back, child. It's been a minute. I want to say happy Friday, but it's not Friday, it's Saturday. So I hope you guys are having an awesome weekend. And before we get into this video, please do all the things. Stick around to the end of the video. Go ahead and hit the like, please. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because sharing is caring. Share the video where you share your videos. Leave a comment in the comment section. I like to interact with you guys. It also helps me with the algorithm. And you know what I'm going to say. Between me and YouTube, turn on your notifications because you just never know. We are here for College Hill Celebrity Edition Season 3, Episode 6. Them grades got the whole house shook. And do they? What a title. And it fits. It really it really does. I said that's the best y'all can do, BET Plus, but I mean, they're not wrong. Let's get the cast up there and let's get to going. So we open where we left off. We're in Polly's side class, and the group is presenting to Congressman Carter. So Claudia speaks about their visit to Covenant House and how it impacted them. And, kind of, I wouldn't really say change their minds, because Carlos was really the only one that needed a change of heart, but it really affected them. So then Angela takes Tamar's place and speaks up and discusses BBL. Yes, that is the name of their bill. It's called it stands for, excuse me, when I get to talking so fast, Build Better Lives Act of 2024, because this was filmed, I believe, February, Black History Month. So what they're looking to do is they want to get funds and use the funds from the bill to build 4 more facilities like the Covenant House and provide services for adults who have aged out of the current program. So I just, we love to hear that. And just as a reminder, I want to put this up really quickly. This was a picture from when they visited the Covenant House on that episode. I won't be doing scene by scene. If you hadn't known, I know somebody brought it up. I'm not really a scene for scene girl. I don't really like to do a whole lot of slides and visuals. I do them as I see fit. But, this one moved me, so I did have it up for that particular episode. And so I will put it up as we are discussing it here. So Carlos is in his confessional, and he's talking about kind of initially what he had said before, that they want to tax things like boats, fancy cars, cigarettes, things that are considered luxuries. Child, I think I got, something on my lipstick and it was bothering me. Hopefully you don't hear my kids snoring in the background. It's kind of early and they still sleep. I'm gonna have to get them up and move them out of here, because I gotta do a live. So I'll probably do that and then change my clothes. But back to what we were doing here. So they want federal funds to match, what they're doing here with this bill, and they want to eradicate homelessness in Louisiana, which was the ultimate goal. So Nick starts talking about there being penalties, with the funding being cut off if the expectations are not met, because we doing the line items in the bill. So you got to hold up to the line items in the bill to keep things going. So the congressman thanks them, and he says it's an excellent start to a good bill. He would give them all A's if he could. Their professor's not playing that. Their professor's not about to give them no A's. We're going to get to it in a little bit as we go through their grades. But he says that they did a good job in the class. They're just having a little conversation. They're feeling really good about themselves. As they should, because they finally showed up and showed out and got the doggone thing done. I think the BBL thing was cute. Carlos was making he's a comedian, a little jokes about the BBLs, because you want to make life better and you're built. It was funny. So I thought that was a cute little acronym, if you will, for something that's really super duper serious. So now Tamar's back, and it's time to get their midterm grades the next day. And as they're talking about it, Nick is saying he doesn't think everybody is passing. And he kind of like literally points to Saucy. And I said, I don't know why Saucy or anybody else looked shocked. Like, we shouldn't be surprised. But Nick actually did get a little surprised when they sit down to talk. So this time it's a College Hill first. They are kind of going in like boardroom style. They got all the professors at a long table, and they're going to pull them in one at a time to go over their grades. Now, typically they get their grades at the house. I think they're all together. You can get down in the comments to correct me, but they kind of get them in the house via like Zoom or like a video type of call or something that's recorded. But I guess we're going to see why, because some of these grades were not what they ought to have been. So the grades are based on 4 things: their tests, their assignments that they completed, i.e., are you handing in your homework, class participation, and attendance. And we get a over at Saucy. So Tamar is up first, and for poli sci, she gets a B, philosophy a A, converge media a B, Mardi Gras history a B for a GPA of 3.25. Carlos is next, poli sci, he gets a B, philosophy a converge media B, Mardi Gras history, where the professor was really impressed with his final project and says he got the highest grade in the class. He gets a GPA of a 3.50, which, he's talking his big one. He's talking his ish, like, yeah, I knew it. Claudia gets a B in poli sci. That poli sci professor is not playing with him. I think they all got B's. I think they all got B's in poli sci, which honestly was good, because if we remember in previous episodes, they were failing. So to go from failing to a B, they'll take it. Philosophy, she got an A. She was the only one with an A for her homework. Converge media, she got a B. Mardi Gras, she got a B, bringing her GPA to 3.25. So Tamar and Claudia are tied in second place, and Carlos, lo and behold, is in first place. That's why I say he was talking his ish. Nick got a B in poli sci. In philosophy, the teacher has said, he needs, it sound like he's not handling his homework, sound like somebody else. I don't know. We're not going to mention no names because I'm not about embarrassing people on here. Class participation is good. He gets a B. Converge media, he gets a D because he is missing assignments, and his quiz grades could be higher. I said, yikes. For Mardi Gras, he gets an F. So his GPA is now a 1.75. Now, I thought he was doing better than this, and clearly so did he, because he was bothered by it. He wasn't as bothered as somebody else is going to be in a few minutes, but he was bothered by it. And I said, not, because I was like, wait a minute, not you riding Saucy, and these are your grades. But also he didn't submit the Mardi Gras presentation, and we did kind of see he had trouble getting it uploaded or something to that effect in the last episode. So that in turn affected his grade, and I guess he never went back and turned it in. So he kind of was asking her, could he turn it in? And she said, yes, that would change that particular grade. But I mean, he probably go from an F to a D. I guess that will help D's, baby D's. Okay, let's talk about them. Actually, let's not. I said I wasn't going to talk about my children, because I don't want to, unless it's about myself, I don't want to get on here and be like, Mommy, you're embarrassing me. So Saucy, we get to Saucy finally. Poli sci, he gets a B. Philosophy, he's missing assignments. He missed the final debate, which he cannot make up. So he got a D. Now, Saucy was happy and kind of clapping his hands in the confessional, because a D is passing. It is. It's passive, but it's not transferable. And it brings your GPA down. Converge media, he got an F, and she says she isn't pleased. People are looking up to him, and she says she knows his potential. And I think that kind of hit him a little bit in the feels, because he was like, oh, she ain't never talked to me like that. But she takes her job very seriously, and not like in an annoying kind of way, but in a way that she really seems to care about her students. So I do, respect that professor. Mardi Gras, she says she has no grades for him. Remember, she has not seen him. He has not shown up. So he has an F for that class. He has a GPA of 0.75. Yes. Lastly, is Miss Angela. Angela got a B in poli sci. Philosophy, they said her participation is good in small groups, but she could, do more in larger settings. We get that, because she's just finding her way. She's finding her way in the space. So she got a B. Now she's confused in her confessional, because she thought if they won the debate that they were guaranteed an A. Now I said maybe they were guaranteed an A for that particular project, but maybe not for the semester. But they have a conversation with Freedia earlier, so maybe she will go back and have the conversation with the professor and bring that up to him and see what happens. For Converge Media, she got a B. Mardi Gras History, she got a C, because she also had issues with her presentation. So her GPA is a 2.75, and she is not happy, because I think her and Claudia are the two that were going, both wanted to be valedictorian. So, one of them is going to have to be valedictorian and salutatorian. But the way it's looking, Claudia and Tamar are tied for salutatorian. why that kicks my behind, I don't know. And right now, Carlos amazingly is in the seat for valedictorian. So yeah, so she kind of gets irritated. She clocks out. You could see it in her face. She asked to be excused so she could kind of read over because they gave them like a little folder. She can kind of read it over and kind of get her headspace together. And she's like, she kind of thought she would have at least one A. So now she goes outside. They're outside. She kind of storms off. She's cursing. She's like, she got the lowest grade. This is her speaking because she don't know what nobody got. So she thinks everybody else did way, way out here. We're going to put everybody up. This is everybody in order. She's thinking that everybody else did way, 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 way better. Now, she's at the bottom for the women, but I mean, there's people behind her. Is it great? Yeah. I mean, ultimately, so she got all B's. It was a three B's and a C, but that C is really. So outside, she like I said, she cursing. She storms outside. Tamar goes outside, and she's like looking at the grades because she wants to see. She's like, it's not that bad, and she's just trying to give her some words of encouragement. But Angela is not trying to hear anything that she has to say. And the confessional, Tamar's kind of saying like she feels like something else is going on. Now we know she's been sober. We know she's had, changing from Black China to Angela. It's been a whole thing. So I'm sure it's a lot of that and a little bit of maybe something else. But she kind of like, I'm gonna walk home, da da da. So they decide to just go home without her, air quotes. She gets in the they get in the Sprinter and they just kind of go home. And when she finally gets to the house, she's screaming to, I guess, production about turning the lights off because that C, like I said, that C has her on one. Claudia goes in there to talk to her, and she's like, she feels like she got the worst grades. Again, I know she didn't. They know she didn't. Claudia's like, yeah, no, you didn't. But she was like, I'm just going to do the bare minimum. So Claudia was like, you want to get out the house. You want to try to get her out the house and lift her spirits. But she's like, nah, I just want to take a nap. And I felt for her because I know how hard it is. I know how it is. I haven't been in school in quite some time, but I know how it is to work hard for something and not get the result that you want. And she kind of, gets into it a little bit later, but Nick kind of also is disappointed with a smile on his face because Nick is forever smiling. Now he'll be unhappy, but he's just always smiling. At this point, I'm starting to feel like it's a little bit of a defense mechanism. So now he's talking to Carlos. He's like, I could have hung out with Saucy for these grades. And I'm like, yeah, it's giving yikes. But sir, why are we not turning in assignments? Now the quiz grades are what the quiz grades are. You have to put in a little more work, but why are we not handing in assignments? So Carlos in his confessional he's like, because Nick was like, Saucy didn't even show up and they got the same grade in that Mardi Gras class. And I was like, yeah, that F really should have been a D, but I digress. Like if she gave Angela a D, she gave Angela a D, right? Let me just double check and what I'm saying here so it makes sense. No, she gave Angela a C in Mardi Gras. He should have got a D in Mardi Gras instead of an F, but I digress. Either way. So Carlos is making jokes because, that's what he does. And he's saying that Nick probably got CTE. I said, why? But also at the same time, he's telling Nick to his face, like not to be a loser about it, to have a loser spirit, if you will. Don't quit, push yourself through all of the things. They are really trying to uplift each other in this house as a house. And I really do love that about this group of people. But, Carlos is really feeling himself in a confessional as he should. You got a 3.5. Okay. And you're doing the best in the house. So Angela is later on. She's still blacking about something else. I think production turned the lights back on. Saucy and Carlos is kind of like lurking in the hallway. So it finally we get past all of that. I'll try not to make this long because there's not that much to talk about. But your girl's very detailed. So here we are. So the next day it's the weekend, and Tamar is like, "Listen, look, she's hoping that they can refresh and start, they can refresh, going into the next week." So Angela and Nick kind of both are giving themselves a little bit of self-evaluation. She's kind of saying she could have handled it differently. And Nick is kind of saying like he, shouldn't have took it so hard. Saucy, on the other hand, gives no F's. Like he's like, it is what it is. And he's just going to do what he does. So later on that evening, they get a visit from Big Freedia, who is the valedictorian from a previous season of College Hill. I think that was season one? I think it was season one. and is the queen of New Orleans, as they say. Freedia does music and all kinds of things. So they're in her town, and so here we are. So everybody's happy, super duper happy to see her, giving hugs. And she's like, "So how's school?" Angela's face is like, "Child." So Tamar's like, you know, she says, whatever that not child, why did I write that? I said never upset. What they do is never enough, is what Tamar was saying. And they're asking her like how her experience were there any kind of grades that she got in the midterm where she felt like, and Frida's kind of saying to them, she got a B, one of her midterm grades, and she was annoyed, but because she stayed in the books. She talks about how they had the law class and they had to present the clay case and read the whole book. And then Claudia's like, "Oh, well, maybe we need to go harder because they haven't even read any like big books or thick briefs or presented now they did present a bill. So I will give them that, but they didn't present like a case. And then, she had Ray J as her co-chair. It was a lot. So Frida's basically just there to give them words of wisdom, help each other, communicate with your professors. And Tamar and Claudia as well look like they didn't even know, like they weren't even aware that you could reach out to your professors. Now, that is the one thing that I will always encourage. I can't say that because we will say positive things. I have a son, he's 22. He's away he's not away at college right now. He getting ready to leave in a couple of weeks, but that's why I always encourage him. And I know sometimes that face-to-face and verbal, at least for me, but reach out and communicate with them so that they know that you care. See if there's any extra work you could do. Same thing with my high school student. Reach out to your teacher. With my high school student, it's also if, you kind of feel a way about reaching out, or you feel like you're reaching out and the teacher's not meeting you halfway, that's what you have your guidance counselor there for. So that was her words of wisdom. And I kind of, agree with that. And it's like, I think Tamar was saying it was a breath of fresh air, and it was. And that I feel like gave them a refresh, a new start. They're beginning week 3. So they're in week 3. They have 4 weeks. They've completed Mardi Gras, philosophy, and poli-sci. So they've completed those 3 classes. They have 2 classes left, which is Converge Media, and they're going to be starting a new music class. Did I put where the music class is? I think I have it a little further in my notes, but we see Angela go outside and she takes a run and she starts to, talk about how she needs to confront her fear of failure. So it is just a little bit bigger than the class. It's overall how you feel about, yourself. And I have been on that self-love, self journey myself. So she says, she was a little bummed out, but she's going to have to learn how to work through it. Like, these things happen. So you just got to learn not to get down and try to work through it. And I totally respected her and understood that because I'm on a journey of my own. So she goes to Bible study and she, starts to talk about these things. And like I said, I could totally understand where she was coming from. She talks about how she built Black China to protect Angela. And I was like, "Ooh, sis." And she wants to be the best version of herself. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, because I'm trying to, not that I'm a celebrity, but, to once you've learned things about yourself and I'm on my healing journey, just trying to build myself up better, to be a better person for myself, to be a better person for my kids, to unlearn some of the negative and bad things, and just, go on a journey. And I have not taken a lot of people with me, but, YouTube is also part of that. So I don't know. I just like how we are looking at Miss Angela on the show. We just get a quick scene of Nick and Carlos. They go to basketball practice because, Nick wants to be a coach. And he also says he wants to be a good example for his sons. He's, kind of telling them, use basketball as your therapy. He's just having a lot of good conversation with them. And then we see later on, Carlos is packing up some care packages for Covenant House, because originally he was the only one to have the pushback, but that Covenant House kind of, gave him a whole turnaround and then a fresh perspective. So Angela kind of helps him pack it up, and they go over to the house and they deliver him, and they see the one lady that was pregnant has had her baby. Again, that's this scene here. And I just, it always warms my heart. It always warms my heart. I have to get back into my community service thing. I have to get back to my breast cancer walk this year. And other things, because my middle son just turned 16 this week. He's going to be a junior in high school in September. And one of the things that they are also looking for in college is community service. Now, my oldest son, he went to private school, I think child 6 through 8. And then for high school, I went to private high school. So you kind of get your um, community service there, if you will. But that's always been like, a super important thing to just instill in your kids, or just in general. Like, if you're not going to help your community, who else is going to do it? But like I said, it does look good for the colleges, but it's just also good to do as a person. And my one thing, even, when I'm not doing anything as intense, is to do that breast cancer work that I have not done in a couple of years. So I have to get back to that. But I digress. So, Claudia, we see Claudia, she's studying. Nick is kind of talking to her. She thought she was going to be in a lot of clubs, but, she like media and stuff like that. But the whole workload of everything's kicking her butt. But she still has her eyes on being a valedictorian. I think this is also a good representation of that work school balance, because not all college kids have the privilege of not working. So you got to balance your work with your studies. We see she's still filming TGIF while she's there, in addition to doing this work. And it's 4 weeks, and it's 4 weeks accelerated intensive work. So I'm glad we also get to see that. Tamar has a heart-to-heart with Saucy. And he's saying he missed one day. She said, and I said 3 too, 3, but 2 of them were field trips. And he says he doesn't like field trips nor think they're important. I'm like, child, that's more fun than anything else. I did not mean for this recap to be this long. Like I said, your girl's long-winded. So she wants him to promise to go to all his classes and do all his work. That's her roommate. She just wants to give him, big sis vibes, and he looks up to her, but he ain't trying to make no promises, which is fine. Okay, we don't want to make promises we can't keep, but also, I mean, isn't that what you're here for? So, like I said, they have 2 classes left. One is music. They're gonna get started with that. I think the following day, when Tamar comes and gives them a piece of paper, it's for their final for Converge. Their final assignment for their Converge media class, and they're going to have to write an article about someone in the class, their life, and how someone in their class, their life, how far they've come, and the legacy they want to leave behind. And they've kind of already started talking about these things in the class, so it should be easy. And it's also going to be in the school newspaper, so it's super duper important that this work is on point. We see the professor split the groups up. We got Tamar and Carlos, we have Angela and Claudia, and we have Nick and Saucy. No chat GPT, guys. No chat GPT, guys. Nick was even suggesting, like, why don't we write for ourselves and just give it to the person? They're like, no. Like, we got to really, really do the work. Let's do an interview style and really get into it. We don't really see them work on that, but what we do see the next day is that when they're in the sprinter getting ready to go to their new class, which is I think music and culture, the professor asked Claudia that if Saucy does not complete the assignment and do the article on Nick, will she do it? And Saucy wasn't happy about it. But Saucy, you got to understand, boo. We understand where we're coming from and what we've been getting from you. So Claudia is kind of hoping that this new class will inspire him. And indeed it does. They're going to start with the music of New Orleans. And I think it's, God, I didn't put it down, Congo. Kind of where all music came from, jazz. So then, they break into groups, as they like to do, and they start talking about music and how it's impacted your life. Tamar's from a musical family, so she has a lot to contribute to the conversation. But Saucy also has a lot to contribute to the conversation. And Carlos says, he seems to be passionate about it. He's participating in the conversation, and his peers are seeing it also. He's engaged. He's not falling asleep. And he says, he even out loud to the class, his teacher says it's his favorite class. And I said, oh, he about to give them trouble. And that's essentially where the episode ends. And a fun fact, didn't know Saucy was from Connecticut. You just never know. So it looks like next episode, what we are going to get is he's going to be hard at the work, and he is just going to be really, trying to show up and show out. They got their finals upon them. They're going to perform music for that class at the Congo. I think it's Congo River, Congo Forum. I don't want to say it wrong. I know it's Congo, but I didn't put it in my notes. And they're also going to be registering people to vote. And then when the advisor wants to meet with Saucy, that's going to be a problem. So it's like 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. If you know, you know. Also, I'm going to get on my soapbox really, really quickly before I get out of here and say, please, if you have not registered to vote, please vote. It is super duper important to vote in your local election because, yes, that affects you directly, but Black people especially, please please, please, please go out and vote for the president. I know we don't have the two best candidates, but please, I'll leave it at that. Okay. Our ancestors fought for the right. I'll leave it at that. I hope, oh my God, that you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below. Where's my little? Leave a comment down below and just let me know what you. Why did my brain just go there? Let me know what you thought of the episode. It's like I'm racing forward with another thought in my head. I think we have 2 episodes left. So here we are. Also, please, we didn't make the 500. We had 322, 323, somewhere around that. Again, thank you and welcome to all my new subscribers. I hope that you like it here and we have a fun ride and that you learn some things about me and we talk TV. I mean, you comment and I'm definitely comment back. So we've moved on from the 500. We've gone on from the 500 and we're just going to try to get to the 1,000 by the end of the year because I don't want to keep pushing the date back. I don't want to keep pushing the date back on you guys. I appreciate you guys coming through. Please, please, please join me for some of my other content. Just take a look around. See what I got. I got some things. I appreciate you guys and I will see you in the next video. Peace.